Hello YouTube viewers, I decided to make a small video about the MSA Sordin Supreme Pro-X active hearing protection unit, and the reason I'm making this video is because I just got myself a pair of these, and I was looking around to find opinions on it, and I did find a few good videos and good reviews, but there were a few things that I would have liked to know before I bought them, but I didn't get to know, so I had to just go sort of blind and get a pair. And this video is so that when you are considering buying these, you'll have a more educated guess, I guess. So I put down a few things and I wanted to talk about. So why did I pick the MSA Sordin brand for my hearing protection? Well, the reason is I've heard so much good being said about the MSA Sordin, and especially the Supreme Pro line, and I've tried a few different kinds of hearing protection, active hearing protection, for example Peltor that we use in the military in Finland, and I suppose it's pretty widely used all around. And I've also used cheap hunting plugs and all sorts of cheaper electronics, and they just didn't live up to the expectations that I was having. But I've only heard great things about the Sordin, and I can say from my own experience now that I've had these for about a month and I've been using them a lot, that those opinions, great reviews, have not been in vain. These are really good. So the main point was that the sound quality and the amplification and the protection is really superb in the MSA Sordin, especially the Supreme Pro line. And these are the Model X with the neckband. So the X means it's waterproof, or more waterproof than the Pro version itself. And I believe this X is very readily available these days. But with the neckband, there was only one store in Finland that sold these. So you can get the regular overhead strap version of the Supreme Pro-X in almost every hunting store for about 200, 250 euros. I had to pay about 270 euros for this set with the neckband. So the protectors themselves were about 220 something, plus the gel padding that usually comes standard with the regular strap version of the Supreme Pro-X in most places that I've seen these being sold. So the point being with the Sordin is price/quality ratio. These are really good for the price that you pay for them. I understand that many people have their doubts about putting 250 euros into hearing protection, but it is your hearing, it's important, and once you buy these you probably won't buy another set for quite a while, and these are really quality. So I think that's a pretty good selling point right there. I'm not being paid by MSA or Sordin, but I gotta say these are really good. And you can get these in quite a few different setups. There's also ones with slightly more advanced electronics inside with Bluetooth and so on, but I think that's a little bit, too high fidelity for my taste and my purpose. And I use these for shooting, for military exercises, perhaps hunting someday, but shooting mostly. And I like the active electronics inside because then I can hear speech and warning signals and commands even when people are shooting. And that brings me to my second point about the MSA Sordin. The electronics are really good. The sound doesn't cut off like it does in cheaper Miltech or copied sort of airsoft versions of actual protectors. But these I'll come back to that later. But the electronics are really good. You can practically have somebody shooting right next to you, and somebody's talking and on the other side, and the sound doesn't cut off. You can follow the conversation, no problem. Even though if there's loud noises and the microphones are dampening down the high sounds, the speech doesn't cut off as it does with these ones. About the neckband, I decided to go with the neckband. I bought actually a pair of the regular Pro-X with the overhead strap, but I found that with my Gentex ACH helmet, it was a little bit too bulky, and it became really uncomfortable after a while. Plus, there was a minor technical fault in that pair, and I had to return them, and instead got this one. These are really good, very, very, very comfortable to wear even for long periods of time. I actually was just yesterday out on an exercise, and I wore these for many hours on end. It was good. They really work, and the soft band on top is adjustable. It's really easy to wear, and it fits on top of your hat or whatever, and under your helmet. It doesn't get in the way. It doesn't get knocked off by brush or these tree branches or anything like that. It works really well, and it stays on actually, I believe, better than the regular version, because when you put them on and the hang on, now I can actually hear my own voice. So when you put them on, the neck strap is actually quite flexible in the way that you can wear it, but the strap doesn't come off, and you can always make it tighter or put it on to the front, the top strap, so you get a lot more sturdier, hold on the protectors as compared to the top strap version. So obviously, when you have just one contact point or one retention point, it tends to get knocked off, or it moves around with your helmet, and after a while, it just starts to loosen and go off. And that's why I really like these. They're comfortable and they're pretty rugged. That's really what I was looking for. And also, if you have your standard night vision mount, actually I'll just take that off. It doesn't interfere at all. These are really good. So there's no snagging. It's still low profile. You can have your helmet on top, and it's not going to bother you. Even though there's some straps on top of the night vision mount, it's not gonna be a big problem, as it might be with the standard top strap, and it might get a little bit uncomfortable after a while. And out of the box, what you get with these is the goggles themselves, cord for the communications jack, which is like a 3.5mm jack, and a 3.5mm mono cord for your radio or your player or whatever. And I found that it was a little bit low quality, the cord itself, but you can replace that with your own, of course, depending on your radio. I use the Lafayette waterproof short wave radio, or the VHF radio for short range communication within a group or TAC radio. For that, it works really well. The only minus side is you can't replace your MP3 player headphones with this, because the sound level that comes out from your MP3 player is really low when you're listening through this, even if you're using a high quality stereo cable. I don't know why it is, but that's the way it is. It was the same thing with the other pair, so it's not just a fault in these ones. Perhaps it's to protect the electronics inside, or your ears, I don't know. But if you're listening to your cell phone or your MP3 player, the sound volume is really low. But it's a different thing with your radio. I suppose there's a little bit more oomph in the radio, so that the sound is very clear and crisp. You can really hear it well with these. And of course you get the manual. You get a very detailed manual about the parts and all the bits and pieces that come with it. This is a good thing. And some models come out of the box with gel padding versus the old-fashioned foam. These ones did not, so I had to get the gel separately. But for example, I believe that the regular strap version has these as a standard. What else? Looking around the goggles, there you have the adjustable head strap. The electronics run front to back, and they are inside this protective sheath that also protects the neck strap. On the right side, you have the battery compartment, watertight battery compartment that you just screw open, take the batteries out, switch them, and screw it back on. As I said, the gel padding is removable and cleanable, and you can also get spare parts for the hygiene kit. And on the left side, you have your on-off button that you just press once to put it on, then press it for 1 second, and it comes off or switches off. To the front is the minus sound, plus to the rear. And on the front, you have your microphones. The one thing that actually is inconvenient, and there's of course on the left, is the microphone jack, 3.5 millimeter. The one thing that is, it's not really a minus, but it's well, it's a point of view question. With these regular ones, you can wear these backwards. So if your controller, if you're shooting practical, or if you're shooting on a range that has other classes or whatever going on in the background, you might want to have them the other way around, so that you can hear commands or warning signals or whatever from the rear better than your front. Because obviously if you're on the range, you don't really need to hear the paper targets. So yeah. By the way, don't get these. Do not get Miltech. Do not get these. These are utter crap. The sound quality is absolutely poor. The sound cuts off completely from the, loud sound. If there's a gunshot, the microphone sound cuts off completely. It takes about a second to come back on. Utter crap. I paid about 50 euros for these, and even though the structure is quite alright and the protection is okay, of course it's protecting your ears, fine, but the electronics are shit. Don't get these. Don't go cheap on your ear protection, especially electronic ones. Go with a quality option like Peltor or Sordin or what have you, or these molded 3,000 euro a pair plugs. But don't get these. They're just going to give you a headache, and it's going to start pissing you off when you are shooting in an exercise. Somebody is talking or shouting commands, then the microphones are constantly going offline, and then they're coming back on, and it's going to be a real pain in the ass and distraction that you don't need, because you'd be better off with a pair of earplugs that you can just take off a little bit and hear what the guy is saying, or then just have everybody shout louder and it crap. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I also wanted to do a small test or let you guys hear what this sounds like. So I'm going to use the lavalier microphone. I want to put it inside these and let you hear what it sounds like to have these on if you've never used it before. I'm not sure, with the regular ones I could probably put these together, but the neck strap is not going to allow me to do that. So I'm just going to put these on my head and put the mic inside to get you guys a clear picture of, or about an approximate idea of what it sounds like. So as a reference, I'm just going to make a few sounds here. You can probably, right next to the microphone, you can hear my hands. It's not objective, of course, you know, it's a microphone and so on, but just to give you a general idea how it works. You can hear the banging sounds, clothing, whatever. Of course, it's close to the microphone. But over here, you're not going to hear that much fabrics moving or whatever. But then I'm going to put this inside the ear protection itself. And as you can see, it's already muffling sound. So you're not going to hear anything. Then I'm just going to switch these on. There's a signal and voila, there's your sound. I think these are at the highest possible setting, yeah. So it's still cutting off the loud sounds, but you can still hear what's going on. You can hear it's a gunshot or it's a clap or a, you know, the sky falling down, but it's not going to damage your ears. And it can get a little distracting if you're using these for a while, then because the microphones pick up very, very small sounds, like the fabric of your jeans or your combat uniform or your you know, weapon or whatever kit, and it amplifies sounds as far as like 30-50 meters away. So if somebody's talking 25 meters that way and somebody's talking a meter to your left, you might not know the difference right away, so you have to keep that in mind, of course. And then obviously when some sounds become a distraction, then you just turn the volume down. As you can see, it's completely different. You can hear something, you can probably hear speech. Unfortunately, I don't have anybody here to demonstrate that, but because when I'm speaking, the microphone is also picking up my voice through the jawbone and whatever. But even with the lowest sound setting, you can hear speech quite clearly, and you can do your whatever weapon handling, and you can hear the sounds that come from your NVGs or whatever, no problem. But if you want to really amp up your hearing, you just crank up the volume. So that's basically what it sounds like with the MSA Sordin Supreme Pro-X active hearing protection. And I hope this video gives you some ideas about which ones to get. Thank you for watching.